I don't actually know if we've started. Do we start now? Well, we have begun something because we're sat in my living room with a pair of microphones.
Something has begun.
Yeah. This is not what mates usually hang out. They don't usually hang out with this sort of equipment. So we're definitely here to talk about something.
We are here to talk about something at the very least.
Well, I know what I want to hear about.
What do you want to hear about?
And that is your recent trip to Japan.
Yes.
I think we should start with that.
You think we should start with that? Okay. Yes, it was very short term. Well, I say short term. Short term idea. Boxing Day, I decided I should probably take myself away somewhere because I'm a bit stressed out. I think holidays are a good chance to sort of wind down as such. I've wanted to go to Japan for ages. So this was sort of a perfect time to do that. I've had lots of people tell me that, like, oh, you're so brave, you're so confident of going by yourself. But to me, like, going away by myself doesn't seem to faze me that much. Does that seem strange to you at all? Going all the way to Japan on my literal ones. Does that seem strange?
Literal ones. Well, I mean, you're talking to the wrong person about holidays because I don't own a passport. So but in all seriousness, I don't think so at all. Because I mean, like, not everyone's free to align their calendar and stuff to go on holiday together. But I mean, if you want to go to somewhere, like, you know, flights to places can sometimes be not a lot. Like, you know, people spend a lot of money on crap when you could literally get a flight to another country and just see somewhere. Even if you don't go anywhere, like, you could just walk around and you do walk around somewhere else, which is pretty interesting. So I think I kind of get it, as in, like, you know, you've got no one to bounce off of and be like, oh, maybe we should go here, and then people, like, reassure you of your choices. You've literally just got to be like, okay, I've got to get out today, and, like, these are the places I'm going to go see. So, I mean, how did you find it being there by yourself? It
was a bit weird. And, like, I was doing things that I'd never do if I was with someone else, because I just quite... On the weekends, I just occasionally take myself up to London, just walk around and just, like, experience it, because I just enjoy being in central London. And a lot of my trip to Japan was just kind of that. Like, all the shrines that you go to are free to walk in and stuff. You don't need to spend any money. And I just sort of enjoyed being in their presence. I did spend money to, you know, go do things and go on amusements and whatever. But yeah, if I was with someone else, there'd be more of a drive to go and do some more specific things. Which is good and bad.
Yeah. Because when you're with someone, you always have to talk about it. In a sense. Like, I know that sounds really, like, antisocial. Like, oh, I'm going to have to talk about this, like, awesome thing. But, like, you know, you can actually just, like, take it in and think about it as opposed to talk about it.
I mean, I am quite an antisocial person, which is probably why I went all the way there on my literal ones.
So, how long were you there for?
I was there for 6 nights.
6 nights?
I was there. So I flew out Saturday evening, UK time, and I arrived back the following Sunday in the morning. So,
did you get to talk, like... I'm aware you've learnt a little bit of Japanese.
I do know a little bit of Japanese, yeah.
Did you find it, like, was it very difficult interacting? Like, is there many sort of people there who understand English?
No, there is lots, yeah. I tried to speak my horrifically broken Japanese, because, of course, the moment I attempted to speak it, I forgot every single word I'd ever learnt. I did speak a little bit with some people, but when they'd approach me first and say something, you know, just how a normal native would say it, quickly, or maybe using slightly less common words. Yeah. They could see me like a deer in the headlights suddenly just freeze. And they started speaking English. Like, I could go up to people and be like, oh, where's this? Or how much is this? Or can I have this? Or whatever. I got those down. But people coming to me and putting me on the spot really terrified me. Yeah. So, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. I did a lot of thinking while I was out there, because I was by myself. Lots of thinking. Lots of reading as well.
Reading Japanese? Or
no, reading books. I had a lot of flight time.
Reading Japanese books?
Should have done, really.
Any interesting reads?
Yes, I will. Whenever I'm next over, I'll bring the book over. I might lend it to you. It's a book called Some, and it's a collection of really short stories, just a couple of pages long. And all they are is really very basic premises about the afterlife. And it just supposes like, oh, once you die, afterlife is like this, or afterlife is like this, and it just gets you thinking. And I was reading a lot of that. I've read it all in Japan. It's not very long at all. But yeah, and seeing all the shrines and them, speaking to the afterlife and ancestors and all things like that, you really got me thinking about religion again and spirituality in a more general sense. Because I don't really know your religious background necessarily, but I was christened, and I actually pestered my parents to be christened when I was young, because I was very deeply into Christianity, religion. Yeah, so when my sister was born,
like how old are you, sort of?
Must have been about 6 or 7. My sister had just been born, so she was maybe a year old. There are photos of us in our Christian clothes, and she's like a little baby, and got godparents and all stuff like that. And I bothered my parents to do that, and they were nice enough to take me to a church and get me christened. And we actually went to services on a fairly regular basis on Sundays, which was nice. You had to do that before you got christened. You had to actually be
minimum amount of
yeah, exactly.
Actual.
But I was thinking about that, and like, I don't know exactly when I stopped being religious, but I remember being later in primary school. Because you sing loads of Christmas songs, or Christian songs more generally.
Yeah.
In primary school.
Yeah.
At what point did you sing loads of Christian songs in primary school? What did you kind of consider yourself a Christian as a kid singing those songs? Were you always skeptical about them, or?
I don't know. It's really weird trying to remember that. Like, because it's so. It seems like it's a very, very long time ago. I mean, it's not,
In the grand scheme of things, it was only 10 years, maybe a bit less than that.
But, so I guess I must have done it. And I remember, vague things of, there being, prayer as well.
Seems really strange looking back, though.
Yeah, in primary school, it's weird how maybe it's just not information that I've, necessarily held on to because it didn't have any bearing on anything, really. It didn't really have an effect on, I think, anyone who was there. Not in a sort of horrible way, but it almost feels like it was just
something you had to do.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very weird to think about it now because it wasn't necessarily a Christian school. And it was a very secularised area of England. So there just wasn't really. It's very weird thinking about it. Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, looking back, before I moved to where I live now, the school I was at then, there were certain kids who weren't allowed to sing, or their parents forbade them from singing the songs that we used to sing in assembly. And it was only then that I kind of clocked that it was a religious thing and not just a school mandated thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I started, I should become a Christian. I believe in all this stuff to my parents. And all the a couple of Hindu kids and Indian kids were the ones who were operating the projector. They weren't singing, but they were passing the lines through so we could all know what was being sung. It just seems very strange.
They just graffiti over it.
Yeah.
For the banter.
I mean, obviously, I haven't been in primary school or school for ages, so I don't know what they're doing now. I know we definitely didn't sing Christian songs at high school.
Yeah.
Seems strange why you do it in primary school, though. But
yeah, it's weird because I have younger brothers, and Henry has apparently my mum said to me that he's come back from school and they've had lessons or done that sort of stuff, and he believes in God and all that sort of stuff. And it's I think I have to take it with a pinch of salt, and it's there will be a point where he'll everyone sort of weigh up the arguments a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Or either go down one route or go down another, or just find out more in general about it.
I think they gave my sister a free Bible one time.
Free Bible.
We've got a random little pocket-sized Bible sitting on like all my sister's like school books. I was like, "Where'd you get that from?" And she's like, "Oh, I gave it away at school. I don't know where it was, in her assembly or an RE class or something." But yeah, that seems that's a bit propaganda. That is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems very strange.
That is like, yeah, that's weird. I mean,
and that was at high school. This isn't. It's not a Christian high school.
Like,
seems very, very bizarre.
You're getting all like missionaries going to schools.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was.
That's mad.
Are you religious or spiritual in any way now? Do you ever think about these questions?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a bit different. I'm probably more into that now than I was when I was younger. Which obviously a lot of people go the other way around. Like they'll be raised with that, and then they'll just be like, nah.
Become more atheist as you get older. Yeah.
But I kind of went that route when because I was into like, I don't know, I guess into like rock music and that whole sort of thing of like rebelling against it and like
against the man,
and just thinking that like, you just like there's that quote from like Lemmy that says like, I think he's saying that, but I can't actually remember any of it, so I'm not gonna
butcher it. Yeah,
but it was something to do with like saying that he doesn't need religion or anyone to tell him to be like a good person or whatever. He's gonna be whatever person he is, sort of thing. So I think there's definitely that sort of attitude in that sort of like, of a lot of young people. But then I think that lacks actual depth of thought, like in a way. It's sort of just being like yeah, it's like it's pointing out the flaws in some like religious teachings and the way that religion was taught to them, but it's not actually leading them onto like their own thinking about like existence and all that sort of stuff, which is like really deep. And obviously, a lot of people they don't necessarily think about that sort of stuff. They just
It's a lot to think about on a daily basis, like contemplating your existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people don't do it, but my spirituality's kind of gone in waves. Like as a very young child, you have literally no concept of God or anything like that. And as I said, the whole I want to be a Christian as a small child. But once you get to high school, you I'm an atheist. Don't believe, man. It's not real, man.
And it's almost like you go in an opposite way. It's like more intolerant in a way, which is like looking back on it now, I'm thinking like, but I would sort of be like, oh, that's all like, that's all mental, like, this is all like,
it's all make believe.
Yeah, like you just sort of make fun out of religion. Whereas in a way, like now I'm the other way around, where I see some parts of like the religion that are good, but then also I think that I was actually thinking about this walking to work, I think today, like how the argument for people going, so if you've ever talked to a religious person, like a lot of people will say the same sort of stuff and go, oh yeah, I'm not religious myself, but I see like, what good, they'll say like the same generic thing of like, morals and a moral structure or something. But it's like, but that's not necessarily what religion is for. And again, I think that's a very lazy, generalized way of like the unattached to anything spiritual, like that group of people who just don't care or anything like that. I think it's a really general attitude around that sort of atheist point of view. It's like they still have sort of respect for religion, but they
fail to see what other people get out of it.
On a deeper level, I think. Like they don't see it as a spiritual thing as much, more of like a moral compass, and that's why a lot of people, take the mickey because as a moral thing, then it's kind of agreeable that you wouldn't need it to be written in a book to do moral good, but a lot of people are not in touch with spirituality outside of. It's like you can say to someone, "Are you a morally good person?" And a lot of people have a really strong opinion on morals, and so they'll have a strong opinion on that side of religion. Whereas if you say, "Are you a spiritual person?" that's not everyone's gonna sort of go into.
People own up less to that.
Yeah. So maybe a lot of atheist opinion on religion is more based on morals, I suppose, more than actual spirituality, which is what it should be.
Yeah, they always fail to see the like how people can get any value from spirituality. They see themselves as being above it, and then likewise with the morals, they think I have my own moral compass. I don't need someone else to tell me what is or is not moral, and so that's how they sort of discredit religion that way.
So now we're on the topic of spirituality. So this has gone pretty. Well, I mean, what did we start on? Japan.
Japan.
Leading back to Japan.
Yeah.
So you posted an Instagram photo, which was really nice.
Thanks.
It was dope. And he said something along the lines of the closest thing you've had to a spiritual experience or a religious / spiritual experience. And you're saying you're going to talk about.
Let me find my exact quote.
You were doing a lot of reading over there. I guess the lack of interaction, but the
always became kind of monk-like in that way.
Yeah, just not speaking, but just exploring lots of new places. So having lots of stuff to think about, and perhaps lots of stuff to talk about, but not necessarily being able to talk. So how did you find that alongside?
My so-called spiritual experience came when I was up the Tokyo Skytree, which is one of the highest I think it is the highest viewing platform in Japan, at least. And from there you could see right the way out to Mount Fuji. So you go in this elevator and you go up, and the second I was right at the front of the elevator, and the second the doors open, there it is in the distance, Mount Fuji, snow-capped, beautiful. It was gorgeous sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. I was like, oh
my God.
It filled me with such joy and literal awe, not in the awesome kind. The old school version of the word. I was in awe of not just nature in terms of it creating this volcano, this mountain of immense power, and having studied volcanoes in geography, I know what they are capable of, but then simultaneously awe for the skills and resourcefulness of man in order to erect this ginormous structure to enable me to see
without having to go to it.
And it was magnificent.
Yeah.
And that combined with how high up we were and the people looking like...
and the lack of air, all of those things just made me feel fantastic.
And looking down at, the people looking really small, and everything else that we've created, as far as the eye could see, was buildings and structures. And you had the Pacific Ocean out one way, city, Mount Fuji, city. I just, a combination of awe for nature and then an awe for the power of man.
And it's like you never see stuff from that angle usually. You're down on the ground. You're one of those people that just see stuff that's you can only see to a certain height, that sort of thing.
It was incredible.
I think it's kind of like, I think stuff like that is only something you can appreciate once you get to a certain age. I think if you did that when you were younger, do you feel that you probably wouldn't have understood or had the same feeling towards it, sort of thing?
Children still are capable of, they go, oh wow, what a view. But I don't think as a young person I would have taken any sense of religious or spiritual significance from that. I was like, what a lovely picture. I don't think I would have been, I wouldn't have felt the same emotions. I think I still would have been pleased or excited or happy to have seen that, and it would have been worthwhile in maybe a different way. But yes, I definitely would not have taken from it the value that I did at this age. And I'm sure if I was to ever go back there again, maybe as an older man, a middle-aged person, or an even older than that, I'd take some kind of different significance from it.
Maybe. But I think it's one of those things where you were in awe of looking at the volcano. That's the thing, I can't even sort of picture it. I mean, I could go on Google and look at a picture of it, but actually being there, I can't imagine in my head, which is obviously where going there comes in. It's like just that's what I mean, like seeing new stuff that you've never seen before. That's why it's so interesting, I think, especially, people go to, that's why I want to go to a country like Japan, because it's, the other side of the world sort of thing, and the culture is very, very different. So you're going to see stuff, and even just seeing stuff, I think, just it does something to people that it's like, just, I don't know how to describe it, really. New experiences are crucial.
Because I find I'm becoming more aware of the distinction between sort of physical objects and experiences. Whereas before I would have spent more money on things to own. I would have bought more computer games, more CDs, more whatever. I'm finding now I'm spending more money to go and see bands live, to go on trips and holidays and go visit things, go experience things, even than I was like 2 years ago. And I'm only like 21 now. So it's, although I don't notice it, day to day or week to week or whatever, but like looking back, I spent loads of money on like computer games like a couple of years ago, but now I'm booking holidays by myself to to foreign countries, and it's just sort of interesting to see my change of emphasis on experiences versus like owning things. And people always say that about millennials in dinosaur quotes, that we're spending less on diamonds and we're spending less on this and that, and we're I mean there are lots of causes for that, of course, like prices rising and wages not rising and
not
so on and so forth.
Anything
yeah, exactly. But I do find it funny how it seems the younger people value experiences way more than maybe the slightly older generation.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, 'cause I mean that's the thing though. Is because we can achieve much less in terms of material things, I think. So, the prospect of owning a house is never going to happen. So you might as well go to another country and, well, it's not that it's never going to happen, but, our parents, our grandparents would, get a job to work. They'd save and save and save until they could buy a house. And that was the future that sold to them. Well, I don't think we necessarily have the same thing being, shoved down on the next. That we need to do a certain thing, and that is not something that's as viable for everyone, whereas it would have been. I mean, obviously, without going into the economics of yesteryear, but yeah, I definitely think it's less people. There's so many more people now I know that are less into the idea of having kids and getting married and all that, whereas it was a much bigger thing a few years ago.
Yeah, how much of that is economics or how much of that is cultural is, I mean, it's difficult to say, but it's probably a bit of both in most people at least.
That's the thing. I was at work today, and so me and you and a few of our other friends are sort of semi-planning a trip to
some European
country.
In
Europe, once I have a passport.
Oh yeah.
And that's sort of, looking at flights and accommodation together or whatever, it was £160 for some of them, 140 sort of thing. And then I looked in at work, I work in a guitar shop, looked in the pedal cabinet, and for second hand there was a pedal there for £150. I'm thinking it really puts it into perspective that I can go to another country, stay there for a few days, have my accommodation, go and see stuff. Or I can just buy this little pedal and take it home and sit in the same house and without getting into guitar gear and all that sort of stuff. It's just ridiculous how much money you spend on stuff that is just probably going to sell at some point or whatever. It's just material things. But I think once I get a passport, because now it's less about me needing one to go places at the moment, and when you're a kid your parents take you on holiday or whatever, but it's just more that I want to. I think I'm going to end up spending money on travel, not necessarily for holidays in a way as well. I think it's more for just
you have that door open, I suppose. If someone short term wanted you to do a gig in France or something, then you have the possibility of doing that. I do
want it for that as well, but I think it's almost going to be a hobby of mine. I know people who go to Belgium for a day or for a weekend and stuff like that, it's like, you know, you're never more than a few hours away from anywhere on the face of the earth. So go out and see some of it if you can. I mean, I know it costs money, and I'm gonna have to save it. You know, I haven't got a lot of money anyway, but I genuinely think that it's less about the whole holiday thing of it, you know, of like going away and sitting around a pool just in a hot country. It's more about like, I just want to go and see different places in the world and just see different cities, you know, even just looking at whatever, just experiencing a different city and like the feel of it or whatever.
Because I mean, I very rarely go out clubbing or anything, but like from what I hear, people can spend hundreds of pounds theoretically on a heavy night out. Yeah. And just to, you know, as you said, like a flight to Europe, 150 quid. And that's quite a long flight, really. You could probably get to Paris for like 50 quid if you got the dates right. I mean,
get the Eurotunnel.
Yeah, Eurostar. Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting.
It's pretty nuts. And that's the thing. If you don't see holiday, loads of people obviously see it as a, you know, like a time to like relax and stuff like that. And, like, I get that, but like, you know, what's like, you know, people go to resorts and stuff, and it's basically just you're seeing like this tiny little bit of the country, and you're just seeing a bit that's been accommodated to people. Yeah. You know, it's all just like a service, but in a nicer country with like pools and stuff like that. So, but I am more interested in, you know, just going to places just to look about it, you know, see what's up. Not necessarily to sit and relax and that sort of thing. Just see new stuff.
No, that's the holidays I used to go on. Some of them were just, let's go somewhere warm and sit down for a while. That's why I think it's important to have a balance, because on the one hand, I almost needed another holiday to recover me from Japan, because I was on my feet walking around for 12, 13 hours a day, and my feet were hurting, and I was knackered and jet lag. I don't know whether I'm still... No, I'm not jet lagged. I've been back weeks now, but...
But like sleep debt.
Yeah. Severe sleep debt. No.
I think the point is I'm just interested in going out and seeing new stuff, and that's, I think having a passport is going to enable me to just go and see stuff that's different rather than just go out in the UK or whatever. Put it this way, like, you know, after this, we record this, might go out and just see a gig, maybe. Depending on how tired I feel. But, you know, it's good. Anyway, so I think that was a good little bit on Japan. Good little bit. Spirituality. Without, I think
bit of both.
Try and leave a bit of the spirituality for some further podcasts.
We'll come back to that.
Episodes. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to go over that quite a lot. Knowing the way that we talk about stuff.
Oh, here we go. Let's Google Donald Trump travel. First one. Donald Trump considers issuing a new travel ban. This uploaded on the 11th of February, which was yesterday. Donald Trump is considering a new executive order to ban citizens of certain countries from travelling to the US after his initial attempt was overturned in the courts. He says the brand new order could be issued as early as Monday or Tuesday.
On the subject of travelling.
On the subject of travel.
Oh, God.
It's all linking. It's all linking.
Seamless.
Seamless. This is obviously awful, what he has done. His attempt, at least.
Yeah, so when this is uploaded to whatever platform it will be on, this will probably be, you know, a little bit older, and whoever's listening to it...
It's already a couple of weeks been going anyway. But
maybe there's... You know, there'll be an outcome in a bit. Yeah, so what do we know?
I mean, that is the problem. So, the original one had barred entry from citizens from 7 mainly Muslim countries, and there were implications that people who had green cards, which is America's kind of like residency permit, and who were originally from those countries would have those green cards revoked. It didn't appear that was the case in the end, Mo Farah, who you might know, the runner, originally born in Somalia, which is one of the countries that was listed as one of the 7, is a green card holder, has his training facility in the US, does lots of stuff for whoever his sponsor is, Adidas or Nike, one of them.
Yeah,
he's a runner for them, and he was concerned about ever getting to see his kids again. It's just a bit of a show, really. No one told the enforcement agents on the border or things like that, because they wanted to put it into action straight away, in Donald Trump's words, to stop a surge of bad people coming in. So they tried to put the order in straight away to stop the bad guys from getting over. If they gave a week's notice to tell the agencies, then everyone would try and get to
bad guys.
America straight away to try and beat the ban. But
wow,
terrible.
Wow,
really.
I mean, I just don't understand how that is even a thing.
No.
Like, how is that even just? I mean, do you ever think if Donald Trump was actually there and there was people walking up to him, do you reckon he would be a person? Like, do you reckon he's actually prepared to turn people away?
Personally,
yeah.
I reckon he is. He's a businessman. He's probably quite cold-hearted.
Yeah, he's probably. Yeah, to be fair.
Do you think Donald Trump will get assassinated?
Whoa!
I think the odds are very high. We haven't had a presidential assassination for a very long time.
We're due a presidential
We are due a presidential assassination.
Oh
Roughly, I think 1 in 7 presidents die while they are in office. That statistic might have changed, what with President Obama and Bush and Clinton and this modern era. But I do remember reading somewhere for a while that 1 in 7 presidents die in office, whether that is assassination
my life.
or illness. Couple this with the fact that Donald Trump is literally 70 years old already. So he'll be a 74-year-old man before this first term ends.
78 if he did
2 terms, which is the limit.
78. And imagine if he did 3 terms.
Can't do 3 terms.
Oh yeah, can you not?
No, not in America. Just 2 4-year terms. So Obama's had to step down now. He can't even.
I thought there was 3, but he chose not to do a 3rd.
No.
Okay, fair enough. I'm in the wrong. But Jesus. He'd be 78 if he did 2 4-year terms. I mean,
terrifying, really.
That's older than probably any of my living relatives. So, I mean,
it's kind of wrong that a person. I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, those are probably the wrong words, but. And in the lead up to the election, he was, my doctor says I've never been ill and I'm fighting fit and I'm in shape, and he was taking pop shots at Hillary Clinton because she was caught with she fainted or passed out because of pneumonia or something at one of her press conferences, and she's not fit to run, and I've never been ill, check my medical records and all stuff like that.
It is just crazy to think that he is that age. Like, to be fair, all that fake tan and probably plastic
doesn't look
surgery.
too bad for it, does it?
Yeah. He's looking kind of young for that age. Like, fair play to him. But
now I need to double check that I have got his age right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna get deported.
I'm gonna get Wikipedia, the fountain of all knowledge. 70. Yeah. He was born June 14th, 1946.
Wow.
1946.
1946.
Jesus.
Jesus. So do I think he'll be assassinated or not?
Yeah. Yes. Come on. We're dealing with the important questions here.
I mean, everyone in America can buy a gun.
I mean, yes. Yes.
I have a mate who is actually Canadian, but he was telling me that he was just like, it's just crazy because you can't buy ammunition and a weapon at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It's like a cool off, but you can just walk across the street and get the ammunition from another shop, sort of thing. He was like making a joke out of that, and I was just thinking like, that is crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, if someone was so inclined to murder someone, you don't necessarily need a gun.
No, there are other ways.
A gun makes it a lot easier, and it's a lot. If that's accessible, it's not like a kitchen knife is designed to murder someone. It's designed to be used in a kitchen. A gun, what else is it designed to other than kill things?
We're going to do some maths live on the airbake.
Nice.
8 presidents have died in office.
Yep.
So, how many have there been? 43? There are 43 people have served as president. So, I don't know what maths I'm doing. Help.
What are you trying to do?
What's 8 as a percentage of 43?
It'd be roughly like 5% of all of them have died. So, 5%.
It can't be 5%. Because 10% of 50 would be 5.
What am I about? So,
I don't know what maths I need to do.
Yeah, it's like 20%, roughly.
8 divided by 43 is 18. Yeah, so 18%.
Yeah, 18% of all.
Cut that out.
That's
18% of presidents have died in office.
Like, that's actually quite a large amount, considering. You know, if like 18% of a company's like employees died or something.
4 died of natural causes, and 4 were assassinated. The ones who were assassinated.
So 10% of all
presidents have been, well, just under.
Literally like one.
Abraham Lincoln, 1865. James Garfield, 1881. William McKinley, 1901. And John F. Kennedy in 1963. So I'm saying we're due an assassination.
Well, I mean, there is a lot of, you know, I think there was a documentary on an English guy that actually tried to assassinate.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah,
I haven't actually watched it. So
no, I haven't watched it either. I remember it happening at the time though.
Yeah, so someone's already got that in their mind. But I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and say, you know, that assassination.
It's not the answer.
A good thing. Like, you know, even if you don't agree with Donald Trump, you know,
maybe don't kill him.
Maybe don't put a bullet in his head. Like,
there are other means.
Yeah.
Many thought Obama was going to get assassinated because the gun crazy part of America thought he was a Muslim, and apparently that's bad.
According to them, that's terrible.
That's terrible. You'd know who they are because they always said Barack Hussein Obama.
Hussein. Amazing. Yeah, like, you know, as a stereotype, that's a stereotype here. I suppose the people who don't like Donald Trump tend to be
people who don't
liberal,
own guns. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't like guns and not fans of, you know, blowing someone's brain out. So, I don't know.
They have raised an interesting question recently. This is a bit away from Donald Trump, but you mentioned liberals and violence. Recently, I can't remember what the bloke's name was. I have to Google that as well. There was a person on the television. He's been interviewed or something. He's one of the alt-right leaders, I believe.
Oh, great.
Which is another word for neo-Nazi, but they've rebranded. And he was punched in the face while talking on the camera. And people have been speaking a lot about whether or not it was morally right for that person to punch a Nazi in the face. And I was interested on your views on this. While violence is bad, Nazis are also bad. Therefore, is it ever okay to punch a Nazi in the face? Your thoughts?
Oh, that's such a hard question to answer. I mean,
people online on Twitter have been saying it's perfectly reasonable, which I mean...
Yeah. I think it's hard to gauge it. I found that a lot of Facebook groups and media outlets and stuff that I follow have all sort of supported that thing massively.
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling a bit like yeah, I understand it, but like they're really pushing it, like as in like they're making it out to be this massive, great thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, has he harmed anyone himself? And B, does he actually believe that people like need to die? You know, his beliefs.
Let's
to the
have
point
a look.
Where, you know, he wants harm on other people to be done. Because I mean, you know, that's the thing. It's not illegal to to wish stuff upon people. Yeah.
So the bloke who got punched in the face was called Richard Spencer. He was punched in the face while giving an interview in Washington. Let me have a look at Richard Spencer and see what he's been speaking about to see if he has condoned the killing of people. Let's have a butcher's. Okay, sorry.
No, you go for it.
Spencer has repeatedly quoted from Nazi propaganda and has denounced Jews and has on several occasions refused to denounce Adolf Hitler. Spencer and his organisation drew considerable media attention in the weeks following the 2016 presidential election, where at the National Policy Institute conference, in response to his cry, "Hail Trump, hail our people, hail victory," a number of his supporters gave the Nazi salute and chanted in a similar fashion to the Sieg Heil chant used at the Nazis' Nuremberg rallies. Spencer has defended their conduct, stating that the Nazi salute was given in a spirit of irony and exuberance.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just ironic.
It's just banter.
He's a hipster. Alt-right are hipsters. I mean, that's bad. That is a bad thing. Punched him in the head whilst he's doing an interview. That's also not probably the best thing to do.
No.
But, smack. I don't know, this is a very hard one to...
I also don't know where I stand on this, because on the one hand, Nazis are an abomination. But if we reject the laws of our society and our countries, which states that we should not assault people physically, then what other laws can we decide to reject? At the moment, we are rejecting assault and physical violence against one another. Not life-threatening, not life-changing, but we have seen people who have died from single punches. There was a gentleman who was punched by a policeman at a protest not too long ago and died. So they can be fatal, particularly if you're caught unawares. Hit your head, loss of consciousness, so on and so forth. So it's not that it's completely without risk. And also rejecting laws that we don't like for certain people is exactly how you end up in situations with the Nazis. Yeah. Are we going to denounce murder for Nazis? Is it okay to murder Nazis? I would say no. Some people might say yes. But I think that's a dangerous path to go down.
I think that's a good point, because as I said, like, it was really pushed as like a really good thing. But I mean, if he died from that, would it still have been a good thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's funny that he's got a black eye or he's got a broken nose, or he's said this and said that. But you can't just kill everyone who doesn't have the same view as you. Otherwise, then literally you are becoming something that, if they could do that, then they probably would as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't want to be the same as that. But yeah, no, I don't think that's a great way to look at it. I understand how people can be so angry by it that they want to do something like that. But if you information and talking to people and the education, the correct are probably the better ways to deal with people with certain attitudes. Like, they have those attitudes because of a reason. Like, they've obviously been exposed to something. I'm not saying it's the best way or good or anything like that, but they've obviously got that from somewhere.
Yeah.
And you need to understand, as a human, that there's a reason why they've latched onto that sort of thing. So maybe he needed some sort of sense of like community, and they've like provided that for him, and he feels like he's part of something bigger or something like that. So it's a hard one.
It is a hard one, because while change has been enacted through violence a lot, the American Revolution, Civil War, French Revolution, so on and so forth, but the people who are always held up as the pinnacles of humanity, of our society, are people like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King, who through pacifism and non-violence achieved their aims, which, while it might have taken longer And while it might have, they might have been denounced by their contemporaries, particularly Malcolm X, who more advocated for a violent separation or violent solutions to the civil rights movement. I feel it's always better to be a pacifist and non-violent whenever possible.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone who practices jiu-jitsu 3 times a week. So hypocrisies, we're full of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sort of like you need to actually do what you want to be done, sort of thing.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you don't want people going around hitting people that don't agree with other views, I mean, that is literally what some people, some people do. And if it's happening from that side of, from the liberal side of things as well, then, I mean, you can tell that there's a desperation there. And there's a real anger there. But again, I think it is slightly different, I think, as well. I mean, the revolutions that you mentioned,
I mean,
they're like,
poor
really. It's like an institution sort of thing compared to like a attitude that is not in the mainstream. I guess like certain degrees of that are, but I think
I was going to say, you could
Nazis
argue
and
that
the alt-right I don't think are necessarily the mainstream attitude. Maybe they are in some ways, like certain attitudes towards like the separation of groups of people, like I was going
to say Europe
immigration
and America
and all that
have
sort of
become a bit more right-leaning in the past couple of years or so. So
definitely,
some of their views are more mainstream now than they might otherwise have been. But
yeah, for sure. But yeah, punching not good.
In closing, would you punch a Nazi?
Depends if he's like,
Has he punched me first?
Yeah. Is he holding a rifle?
Am I fearing for my safety?
Is this 70 years ago? Are we in France? I don't know. It's hard. I think I would just be like, I think
got to judge it more on the situation.
Yeah, I think sometimes conflicts and violence breaks out from words first, and then just stuff escalates. That's how people start fights and stuff like that. So, I mean, wouldn't want it to get to that point, but
if it came to it,
yeah. Hopefully, you try and strive for that not to happen. But what have we covered so far?
I think we're snapping
in the fair.
Japan, spirituality, millennials, experience versus possessions. Would you punch a Nazi?
Would a Japanese millennial punch a Nazi?
That might be the title. I like that. So just one final question before we finish this first one. What's the meaning of life?